Okay. Is it obviously we're excited with their signing class like everybody is that announces them. There's 20 kids there, and the goal of every class is to bring in kids who you feel like when they get their opportunity to play will be better than the kids who have left the program previously. And so I think our coaches have done a good job of identifying kids who fit well with the University of Minnesota and who once they get developed and learn the system will be extremely productive for us. So,
What positions do you feel best about, and which ones do you feel were the biggest challenge in this class?
I don't know that I have one about challenges. We're getting to where our classes are pretty balanced when we look at things. We had to address the offensive line, and so I think we've done that with the 2 junior college kids coming in, and then adding the 2 high school kids. But besides that, our numbers are pretty balanced across the board, where we feel like we can take a few at each position.
Coach, was it a pretty eventful day from Johnson this morning to Williams last night to Durr and Snelson? Was it more eventful today than years past?
I don't know, because I don't pay attention. I sit in my office and work on stuff, and had to pay a few bills because they got me leaving town tomorrow, and so I had to make sure that was done. And I wait till we have a staff meeting and that. So it'll eat you up if you get consumed with all that. You're dealing with 17, 18-year-old kids. So I knew there's a good chunk of kids that wanted to be here and enjoyed their visits and make us better, and those are the ones you worry about.
You want to get a couple of JUCO linemen. You think that position group could look significantly different this year?
I think so. Is that at the same time it'll be good because we've got some young kids that redshirted, Nick Conley and Bronson Dovich and some kids like that, and with what we do up front, is that there's a good chance it could be a lot different, and that's the one spot we need to be a lot more physical when we play, and so we felt like to get where we needed to bring in a couple of junior college kids to help out.
How about Kamal Martin on a bruise today? When you saw him, did you think we just got to get him on the field? What did you think?
Yeah, when he first came to camp and we got a chance to work with him, he was like 208 pounds, and he went through all the linebacker stuff, and that was our thoughts all along. And then, you get to January and I go home visit him. He tells me he weighed 237 or something at that time. I mean, he's gotten a lot bigger, but our intentions are to start him out linebacker. But, the day may come. That's why you never know for 2 years. The day may come he outgrows that position. And if he does, we'll be fortunate. We picked up a really good defensive end for how athletic he is. So, extremely excited. I mean, be a quarterback, be a good athlete, and you look for those kids. I think Burnsville had a handful of good players, but he made an awful lot of big plays that allowed them to advance and keep going in the playoffs. And I think those types of players are what you're looking for.
You got a lot of quarterbacks from Minnesota, didn't you?
That's the way it worked out. It really did. So, and most of the time that is the best player at a lot of places. So, and all those kids made it to camp. They all got chances to work out, even some of them at other positions. So we feel really comfortable about that.
Calhoun at 335 pounds. Will he play at that?
Yeah, hopefully he plays about 10 pounds lighter. That's where he did play, about 320 or 325. But he had a few weeks off between when the junior college season was over and when he reported for camp. But I've seen him work out in the weight room, and he moves well. So.
No. For years, the narrative has been all the Minnesota kids have gone elsewhere.
Yeah.
What do you think you can do to have this class with so many kids and then have a kid like Carter Coughlin who's experienced trying to get other kids to come?
Yeah, I think part of it goes, and Paul, correct me, you said the seniors had 28 wins, and that's the most since in 10 years. So our senior class had 28 wins, which is the most of a senior class in 10 years. So there's no question the winning. You get bigger fans, and kids rather stay home. But to stay home, it's got to be worth staying home for. And then, I mean, the commitment that's been made to the new facility, those kids know now that they're going to have as good of facilities to be in every day as what they could if they go anywhere else. And so I think a combination of those two, and then we're not where we need to be. We know that. We need to win a few more games. But, 2 years ago, we played last game of the year ago, the Big Ten championship game and against Wisconsin. And so we're close, and I think the kids in the state are bigger fans of the Gopher football program. And the high school coach has been very supportive of us. So if we can continue to improve the product, I think we'll continue to get the majority of the kids in the state.
Tyler Johnson is a wide receiver.
Yeah, that's what he wants to do. I'll never ask a kid to come in here and do something that he doesn't want to do. I'll let them all start out wherever they want to, and then let them figure it out where they can get on the field first and the best. But you make a kid play somewhere where he doesn't want to, he's not going to be very happy. And if he's not very happy, he's not going to be productive. So that's where Tyler would like the opportunity to start out with, and so that's what we'll do with him at first. But he's one of those kids that could play a lot of places. I got to see him play live in a game, and I believe he could help us a lot of places.
Tracy, do you have any examples of the guys and battles that you won in this class where when you first got here, it's not even, you're not getting in the door?
Yeah, I think, one is, Lloyd. I'm happy for Lloyd. Cushenberry's a kid we've been recruiting. He ended up going to LSU, and we lost a kid today to Auburn this morning, which I knew. I mean, kids were very honest. Said, hey, Coach, if Auburn has something come open, that's where I'm going to go. And that hasn't happened in the past for us to get that far down the line and get in the house and visit with the parents and all that. No, we've got to win a few of those too, and that. But at least we've had more of that this year. And again, I think not only is it the from our success, but the commitment that we've made to facilities, and I expect it to get better once the structure's up and they start actually seeing the structure. I think that'll help the recruiting more. And people call it an arms race. It's not. It's an investment in your kids, is what it is, and that's important to kids.
Do you think, Coney had Virginia Tech and Cal
Yeah.
had Mississippi State.
Yeah.
And there's a
North
long-
Carolina, so those are things we haven't been able to do in the past. So that's exciting that we've been able to do that. With the season, we had. I mean, we didn't do as well as we wanted, but the adversity, changing coaches. I mean, and a lot of that, I'll tell you what. To tell those Minnesota guys, thank them a lot, because a lot of those kids, not just Carter, but a lot of them have been in contact, and they've done a great job of holding the class together.
How much extra work do you think you had to do just to maintain the class after Jerry retired and assure the guys that?
Well, it's the reason why I think just about every day, but 2 or 3 in the 2.5 weeks in December and January, I was on the road every night. I was in a different airport every day, because you didn't want to leave anything to chance. You wanted to make sure you got in the homes and those things were all solid, because change is a scary deal. And at the same time, there are a lot of changes other staffs too, and that plays a role into it, because they hire new people, then their new staff evaluate somebody, and maybe they didn't like one of the kids and weren't recruiting. Now all of a sudden they're recruiting one of the kids you were recruiting. So with all the changes in staff, it made it quite interesting.
Winfield tackle like his dad?
Yeah, is that that kid, and I'll tell you what, his personality, he just has a leadership type personality where kids gravitate to him. He came up for his unofficial, and obviously this June, and he came up for an unofficial, and then being from Eden Prairie, and from when his dad played here, and that he had an automatic connection. He still knew Carter and all those kids, and really enjoyed his visit. So excited about getting Antoine.
Tracy has some interaction with his dad too. How did that go?
Yeah, it went great. It was one of the best home visits I had. And of course, everybody's gonna think this is funny, but it's I think probably the best sloppy joes I've ever eaten in my life too. His mom's a great cook, and that's a great family, And it was interesting. They were talking about. Had he stayed on one more year with the Vikings, they probably would have stayed in this area, because Antoine would have started his sophomore year and wouldn't have wanted to move him out of there and that. But I had a great home visit there, and he's not the only, but he's been raised right, and football's important in that family, and you could just tell by his work ethic and visiting with his dad. And at the same time, I don't think that it's been one of those where dad's always pressured him and all that, and so really excited about him. I think he has a lot of possibilities to help us out.
There's going to be a lot of eyes and conversation on Seth Green.
Yeah.
What did you tell him in terms of coming in here and expectations, all that?
Well, I think that I always want to set the goal high, for those kids. And so I told him, with Mitch setting out spring ball, is that him and Demery are going to get the reps, and we'll see who battles it out, and then then they can battle against Mitch in the fall. At the same time, if it doesn't work for him this spring, he's got a timeline to work with on that. But any time with the local kids is I'd make sure I go through. My biggest concern is just you're here is you got to cut some ties with people and really concentrate if you want to be good. I think the kids that struggle here are the ones that can't cut some of those ties, and it'd be like living close and you always go back to your hometown rather than, hey, maybe staying around the weekend and doing a few extra things with the kids that are here. But he was great. His family was great to visit with on the phone, and I think he's a special player. And again, he's one of them that's full of intentions of being a quarterback. I think he could be an all Big Ten type of kid. But at the same time, if that wouldn't work out, you only get to play one for the most part. And if it wouldn't work out, he could help us somewhere else. But we'll get a great evaluation of him in the spring because of Mitch's situation.
The fact that Connor Mose played with them, that connection have anything to do, you suppose, with Mose coming here?
I think so, and just the kids in general. Again, I think it's kind of funny with that group of kids, or this group of kids in Minnesota. They all knew of each other and contact each other. So I think it's a special group in that way. However, they communicate with each other an awful lot, and I know Seth was excited to come back and be a part of all those other kids.
What was it like to recruit without an offensive line coach and an offensive coordinator in December?
Offensive line's pretty easy. I'm a big guy. All us big guys get along pretty good, and so that was I kept those guys informed of what was going on both sides and what we were going to do, and we got our guys hired quick enough that they were able to make contact with them and get in the houses a few times before signing date. So the hardest part of it is all the calls from everybody else, which is natural. When you have a change, then other people are going to try to jump in on the race, but we were able to hang in there, and I'm very, very, very pleased with that. So I don't think that really had any damaging effect at the end, since it was done quick enough.
Tracy, people are gonna see the news about the receiver in Florida flipping on the last day and think, what's going on here? But how do you feel overall about the receivers that you're bringing in?
Hey, here's the thing: is that we win ball games and we continue to get better because kids want to be here, and I don't want to coach any that don't want to be here. And so we got 20 kids that signed and some preferred walk-ons that want to be here. And I think our receiver core Hunter Register redshirted. Isaiah Gentry was banged up last year. He's a tremendous athlete. I think we have plenty of talent there, and we just added, 3 more kids that are extremely talented to help us there too. So the only group that I had concern with going into recruiting and knew we had to get some help in was the offensive line. The rest of them, the kids that are here, just needs to develop and be better, and we'll be fine next year. So the good thing is with the class we got, we'll also add more competition to more positions, and competition makes everybody better.
You mentioned being more physical on the offensive line. Is that size, strength? Is that attitude?
I think, it's explosion, it's size, strength. I think that in my opinion here, the last couple recruiting classes, we paid more attention to pass protection than we have road graders, and knocking people off the ball. And not that pass protection is important, but we're going to make our money knocking people off the ball and then worry about pass protection. I think the last couple of years we went for more height, length, and everything, worried about whether kids could pass protect or not. So we're going back to making that the second requirement.
Many kids come in and say, I want a red shirt the first year, and they'll all come in thinking, I want to play.
Most of, the offensive line and defensive line, they still all want to come and play, but, they're the ones realistically, when you sit down and talk with the families, that's the hardest position, nowadays. With the summer ball, it gives skilled kids a chance to learn and be around your teammates. And one time used to be you showed up for college on the first day of fall camp and you didn't know anybody, and it took you 2 weeks to know people, and that's why you redshirted so many more people. With us paying for summer school now and kids coming in early, they know their teammates, they know the offense and defense, so the skilled kids will have a chance. And I don't like to recruit kids who say they want a red shirt, because I just don't think they develop as much before they get here. They make up their mind, well, I'll start working hard once I get there, as opposed to the attitude, hey, I'm going to go to the Big Ten and play right away. Those kids usually develop a little bit more in the off season, trying to prepare themselves to play.
Coach, I saw something this morning about you rating the athleticism of this class pretty highly. Why do you kind of see that as the case?
Just when you look at their numbers and what they run and the work we put into it, I think they run better than, as a group, they run better than anybody we've had as a whole. So that's just backed up off our research and the numbers that we have.
Tracy, this wide receiver from Marshall, I can't pronounce his name, but a lot of people talk about his all-around athleticism.
Yeah, I mean, Drew is he's a really good athlete, and he's a heck of a baseball player, and of course I went and seen him at their home, and him and his mom, and you know, and I guess I get lucky because I've told other people baseball is my second love. I mean, I love the game baseball, and so I told him, and I visited with Coach Anderson, is that if he's in a position to help us baseball and play and win Big Ten games, then we'll work with him to do both in both sports. Well, I know I've talked to Coach Anderson. They look at him as an outfielder, I believe, is what they look at him as, and so. But yeah, good athlete, catches the ball hard. He's got some change of direction, you know, a little bigger KJ. And I don't know that his top end speed is as fast as KJ's, but one of those guys that's kind of a water bug, so I refer to him as. Yeah, yep, plays basketball, and I know they're hoping to get here to the Twin Cities. You know, I know they're hoping to get here to the Twin Cities for the state championship game. When I was in the home, I think they'd won like 13 in a row. Now they've lost a game since then over to Sioux Falls, a team out of Sioux Falls. But so they got a good basketball team also.
Is there any chance that Seth Green could redshirt? I mean, is that?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah.
50-50 or go
Yeah.
into that?
Yeah. You know, we got 4 quarterbacks on scholarship, and so you know, 2 of them that have played, and the third one would be the backup emergency one, and the, you know, you try to do something with, and then when you take a 4th one in there, like say there's 2 of them that could do something else someday or have the athletic ability to do something else. But it was scary going through a season with only 3 quarterbacks on scholarship, and I told the guys we're not going to do that again. But the 4th one, their 3rd and 4th one, you just want them to have the ability to play somewhere else if it doesn't work out.
So, yeah, but that'll be determined in spring camp.
It'll all be spring camp, and then, you know, I expect Seth's really not to be made until fall camp, because with him being here in spring, he'll have the opportunity to get better over the summer, you know. And then Mark Williams is a kid that we'll have to make that decision on once he gets here.
You had those 2 young running backs last year. Why did you go get a JUCO running back?
Well, size. Bottom line is just size. You know, it's hard to get a high school kid to come here and play when you have 2 young kids like that produce the way they do. But, you know, we lost Roderick Williams, and we really don't have a big back. And I think in the Big Ten, you got to have a big back. And not only was Kobe a big back, but they run the power and run very similar plays and the offense. And so he'll be a great addition. And like I say, those young guys need a little competition too, you know. And so we felt like to get a big back and a 3rd back, we need to go get somebody who's played some college ball. So I think it'd be a great addition. And that was probably the 2nd biggest need I was worried about, because I knew we'd have trouble signing a back with having those 2 young guys. But so we said, well, let's go get a big one to replace Roderick.
One or two more here.
What were some of the other impressive home visits? I mean, you mentioned the sloppy joes at the Wingfield.
Yeah.
Home visits.
You know, Connor Olson, and of course, I had a great time at Connor Olson's in Monticello. I mean, they're a great family, and had a good time there. Really, most of the kids that were here as their families. That's the neat thing about it, and it is the home visits. And a lot of times, if you don't feel comfortable on the home visits, either you don't get the kid or you better get out of it, you know, if you don't feel good about it. And most of them we knew because they've been here on campus first before I got a chance to go out for the home visits. But no, they were, you know, they got some good kids with good people who raised them. I put a little thought into who else it was, but, you know, Antoine's, I wasn't even expecting that. You know, I just went out there to see him, and all of a sudden, you know, and so, but looking forward to hitting that tailgate whenever she fixes those.
Home visits you did as a coordinator, you just do?
I not as many because didn't worry about both sides of the ball, so I get in 8 or 10, not closer to 20, home visits. So, well, I think, now all of a sudden they want to know about who's making the final decision. I mean, that's the biggest thing, and they have to trust you, and there's not a lot of gimmicks and stuff to that, but making sure that, tell them, assure them, we've done a good job academically at this school, and so we've got some good numbers to back that up, and with the change, just reassuring them that the priorities will remain the same, but when they're sending them away from home, they want to make sure that they trust them, and then also, I spend a lot of time, and they really, as the position coaches, be comfortable with them because they're the ones who will deal with their kids every day more closely. But as a whole, that's been the biggest change of being the head coach, and I've enjoyed it. Just like here is getting to know the offensive kids because I didn't know them very well. I mean, it's that cut. I was with the defensive kids, and so I recruited. So I've enjoyed getting to know those kids and their families when I get a chance to meet them. And so I had a great time on the road getting to know those families.
One thing you said in the live chat that got people pretty excited was the helmet stickers. Can you just kind of explain some of the thought that's going
Well,
into that?
yeah, it's amazing. Uniforms sometimes are more important than players, and I have two things when it comes to uniforms. One is I am a traditionalist. I think that when you see a team play out there and you see colors of uniforms, you should at least have an idea who's playing the game, okay? And so I'll never mess with the uniforms very much here at the University of Minnesota, and we're going to be maroon and gold, and I think that's important, but I also think that I want to try to find a way to reward our kids, not for individual things, but team things that they do during the game that helps the team win and do something like that. And I don't want them so big that they cover up the whole helmet, and I'm not into that. So we're looking at a way, I guess, we want to reward kids that are good teammates. I think because that's how you win, is playing as a team, but you got to have some awfully good individual performances as you play as a team to win. And so it's not something that's going to be big and stick out and all that, but something that, the kids can take pride in their accomplishments during game day. And at the same time, too many mistakes, they'll lose them. I think there's got to be a takeaway deal there also when they hurt the team. And so that's kind of what we're trying to develop and looking into. Good to go? All right. Thanks.